There is massive FUD right now about Solana and the Solana ecosystem, all thanks to Dave Portnoy, all thanks to Javier Milei, all thanks to these meme coins, all thanks to everyone, and it's all happening on Solana. Therefore, we all collectively hate it, right? Therefore, we all collectively are shorting the bottom, right? Therefore, we all can't stand it, and we're all migrating to another chain, right? You guys have to listen to yourselves sometimes. You have to pay attention to sentiment. When everybody is against one project, one coin, one token, or everyone is for it, pay attention to the wild swings that we can easily identify through sentiment analysis with our two eyeballs when we're using X, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, whatever you use for analysis, essentially. But I use X. I think it's the best. By the way, you can follow me right over there and also the Coin Bureau Trading channel. But in this video, I want to break down why I'm actually not bearish on Solana, why I'm actually buying the dip on Solana, and how I handle FUD events like this, because this is not my first rodeo. But before I get there, first off, my name is Aaron Dishner from The Better Traders. You're watching the Coin Bureau Trading channel. Make sure to like the video, take out a pad, a paper, and a pencil so you can take notes, because I'm going to be teaching you a little bit about how to handle FUD situations. Now, the first thing you need to know, actually, I'm going to give you all three of these because it's just easier to do all three. The first thing is pay attention to the gravity of the sell-off. Well, we'll talk about these two later, but first off, pay attention to the gravity of the sell-off. When we have momentary fear and panic in the market because of news, pay attention to how the price reacts to that news. Is it just a quick drop? Is it a slow grind down? And pay attention to the lower wicks. We're primarily talking about fear-driven FUD events, not necessarily euphoric pumps, but dumps, right? And I do want to say that there's a huge distinction between these fear-based FUD buys, these opportunities, that's how I look at it, in a bull market versus a bear market. Because in a bull market, this is a buy the dip opportunity every single time. It's not going to look like it initially. You're going to feel like this is the worst possible area to buy anything. Why am I doing this? But it pays off with patience and with careful DCA. But in a bear market, this is when we're going to have to be more careful, and we're going to see repeated news articles come out about FUD. In 2022, it was literally disgusting how much FUD there was. There was FTX, there was Celsius, there was BlockFi, Terra Luna. The list just kept going on. And more these FUD events just crash the market again and again and again. But we're not in a bear market. Not at all. We're in a top year, 100% in a top year. And even in the previous top year, back in 2021, we had plenty of FUD-based events that plunged the price of Bitcoin even down from 60K to 30K. And that was a great opportunity to buy because the price retraced all the way back up and made a new all-time high, then at 69K. So I want to go back over here to TradingView. I want to talk about this concept about paying attention to the gravity of the sell-off. To make this point, we're just going to use, I need to bring this down a little bit because I keep losing track of where it is. We want to pay attention to the candles. I don't have any indicators. It's just a naked chart. Turn off the lights. The main thing we need to pay attention to is when we know that there is FUD, that there's a lot of hate for a certain project or a company or cryptocurrency in general, pay attention to the chart. You're going to be tempted to scroll endlessly on social media, on YouTube, on X, on whatever. Don't do it. You're just going to be reading about other people, maybe finding stuff that's valid information, but you're going to see a lot of people doom posting or a lot of people just mega bull posting recklessly and they're not being realistic. When in reality, the only thing you need to be looking at is the chart, because the chart tells the story every time, okay? The gravity of this sell-off has been slow-mo, super slow. Libra was launched recently, just a couple of days ago. And when the fallout really started was about Monday. And people didn't really understand the gravity of the fallout and all the connections and all the blackmail and all the stupid things that people have done in relation to the project. So we saw Solana fall down 5.7% on Monday. Yesterday it fell down 4.62%. Right now it's currently down 1%. When I think about gravity, I pay attention to the shape of these candles, okay? What I mean by that is think about like a slow motion reaction of like a fighter pilot going up. There's a video that's popping up on my feed all the time right now comparing fighter pilots from World War II, like these 80, 90-year-old men flying fighter planes, and then all these young people going on planes. And you see the young people and they do some sort of like move that causes a lot of G's, and you see their face just melt. And then you see like the 90-year-old men, they just look normal. And they're handling it with grace, right? But I want you to pay attention to this, what I call a smear. See how it starts off just kind of small, a little bit bigger, and it smears a lot here. And it smears so much. This day, actually, from the open right here to the close, it fell down 9%. In total, it was over 10% in a day, which is pretty big for Solana, to be honest. We've seen worse. We've seen worse. But this is pretty big. But the main thing I want you to focus on isn't the entire width from the top to the bottom, but the lower wick, because this is what I also mean by the gravity of the move. And I lost my words. It's okay. But the gravity of the move right here, when I see a long lower wick like this typically tells me or signals that we're near the bottom or at the bottom. Now, truthfully, we could still see Solana kind of range sideways a while before it goes back up. But when I think about the gravity of this move, we start out initially here, more selling, heavier selling, but all of this lower wick action right here, the fact that this lower wick is actually longer than the daily candle itself, that's a really interesting sign. Plus, when we layer volume on top of this as well, we can see that volume increased the most yesterday. That's also a good sign that the move is done. It's been exhausted. We also need to zoom out as well, because when we zoom out to see price action for Solana over the last, good grief, let's go back a year, okay? Just about a year. So actually, we need to go a little bit less than a year. But we're going to look at this range right here. So the current price of Solana is here, okay? Now, when we pay attention to see where Solana has been, where it's been back here, where it's been up here, it's still in the middle of the range. But given all the bullish stuff that's happened since November, we have a bottom here. Yes, it's broken support on this bottom. Yes, it's breaking support in other areas. But what do you notice about these price ranges right here? This is when, just bonked the mic, sorry. This is when we need to spend a little bit of time looking at support and resistance levels. So look at this. The first thing that I see is that, and again, I'm not doing this perfectly. I'm using Alt-H on my Windows. If you're using a Mac, it's Option-H to draw a horizontal line. This is a really simple thing to do. And what we want to look for first are the extreme tops of all of these reversals. Some people call them pivot points. That works too. But these pivot points are really useful because we can identify ranges of support or resistance. Now, we can't add too many of these. We need to be really not careful, but we don't want to just go crazy and put them all over because they're not useful. But what's interesting is that if we look at price action back over here, we don't have to be exact, but you'll notice that there's a lot of price action concentrated in this area from 133 to 157. This is also admittedly during quite a bearish period. And then Solana broke out above and it's still holding up pretty well, to be honest, despite all of this quote unquote FUD. But here's the deal. The price of Solana is actually near one of these levels. Look where the price pulled back here in November before going even higher. It bounced right off of 158. We haven't seen that price yet. We've also seen this level of support right here at 176, which is, I would say it's complemented right here at this price action. There's nothing really to say, oh, this level right here matches up with anything back over there. I don't really see that at all. So these two levels in the short term are, to me, reliable levels that we can look at to see how is it going to react here. Personally, this is pretty much going to be a bounce zone for Solana, in my opinion, which is why I'm buying the dip, which is why I'm not really affected by the FUD. The other thing we have to think about in terms of the gravity of this move is aside from our volume, I'm actually jumping around a little bit. Oh no, good. Does the volume mark a bottom? Good, I just talked about that. And then the daily RSI reset. So let me just reiterate this thing about volume, because we're talking about price action, but I just want to make sure you get this. Volume matters a lot. Volume, I say sometimes, it tells the story. When we know that there's a lot of volume coming in, that's going to mark a significant top or bottom. Usually it's going to be a sign of exhaustion or a sign of support or resistance, okay? The fact that volume amped up over the last 3 or 4 days also tells me that's probably as low as it's going to go. Again, that's just me. The next thing I like to look at, back over here on the text bubble, where is it? Where is it? Come back over here. Oh, good grief. You're embarrassing me, text. Where'd you go? There you go. The daily RSI reset. Now, what I mean by that is something a little bit, well, maybe to you it's silly, but it's actually worked out really well. When we use daily RSI, and for RSI, for all of you that are curious, I use a length of 7. When we see RSI get heavily oversold and anything below 25 is oversold, I pay attention. I pay attention because I'm looking for an opportunity, especially when RSI crosses up 25 again. That's an RSI reset. Over here, we had an RSI reset for Solana. It was short-lived, but we did see Solana retrace and go up about 16% before falling lower. But even so, I track and watch RSI and I chart it a lot. And I pay attention to when RSI is making higher lows or lower highs. That's really good information for me. So looking at RSI, Relative Strength Index for Solana, ever since January 18th, about a month ago, actually, we've seen RSI get smashed and pushed all the way down till it's finally massively oversold. When we see RSI below 25, I never instantly buy. I pay attention to volume. I pay attention to sentiment. Pay attention to this idea of how is the price reacting? What is this slow motion effect with this gravity concept? Okay. Now, I do think it's smarter to wait for RSI to close and cross above 25 before taking any action. But we also have to kind of zoom out to see, is it really that bad? Are things really that terrible for this chart? Personally, don't think so. I think this is a flash in the pan that everyone's going to forget about in a week or two. Honestly, so many people in crypto have the memory of goldfish or goldfishies, goldfishi. But things are still macro bullish. If we use, actually, I won't even bring this up because I want to show you. Here we go. We have on balance volume, which is cumulative volume. It's been trapped in a range for quite a while. So we have a top right here. There we go. Another top right here. And we have support all the way down here. Now, this is from a long time. This is a really long period. So given the fact that on balance volume has fallen down, admittedly a lot because we have lots of red candles, it's not plunging all the way down here to support. I'm not saying that I want it to, but I'm saying it's not as oversold and scary as you possibly think it is, judging by the sentiment. When we look at the TBO indicator, we can see that, yes, it's below the cloud, which is a strong bearish signal, but it's also extremely overextended from the TBO fast line, which is the fastest moving average on this indicator. We also should take a second to think about other projects that have experienced a lot of short-term FUD and what happened and what the consequences were, namely Tornado Cash. Tornado Cash came onto a lot of heavy fire, and one of the lead coders was actually prosecuted and jailed for a while, but he was recently pardoned. When he was actually put in jail, it actually crashed a lot of other privacy-based coins like Monero, like Zcash. But there's a momentary move. And then all of a sudden, those charts move back up. And now we're looking at this Tornado Cash developer pardoned from jail. The thing you have to understand about cryptocurrency and these different coins and tokens and projects and all these protocols is that they're just providing a framework for people to use them. Unfortunately, people have been using Solana to launch crazy crap meme coins for a long time instead of stuff that actually works and is building and contributing to the space. But the reality is that the short-term fear and the FUD, I'm just not buying it. Well, I am buying it because over here on alt trading, I did actually buy the dip with BTC with the sole purpose of stacking sats. Now, this is a crazy ballsy play to do. Don't recommend it to anybody. It's just because I was in a position. I took a nice profit right there. I bought some more of the dip. Unfortunately, I didn't sell on this bounce. It's too bad. But I bought down here. And I'm just going to wait for the price to come up. And I'm taking a lot of profit out on the first bounce. I'll leave this open just in case. But this is how I trade. I wait for max fear and I buy when it looks like the move is done. Now, a lot of you are still going to be struggling with this concept. So I want to go over this again. It's really something you're going to have to develop a stomach and a resilience for, because this is not uncommon in crypto. When we experience FUD, first, pay attention to the gravity of the sell-off. Number 2, does volume mark a bottom? And 3, wait for a daily RSI reset when daily RSI is oversold and it comes back up above 25. Now, Whether or not you like Solana, there's a lot that you can learn from this video. And I want to know what you learned from this video in the comment section down below. Don't forget to share videos like this that I'm teaching you tons of great content, because this is actually going to help you to become a better trader. So let me know what you think of the video. Leave a comment down below. And when you're done watching this, I actually have a video that I talked about more trading strategies that you can use in tandem with everything I've shared in this video. And I'd share 3 powerful trading strategies. It's this video right here. Watch this as soon as this video is done, and I'll see you in the next video. So until the next time, you know what to do. Stay awesome and stay in the green. Peace.